Imagine waking up in a world untouched by modern civilization. No concrete cities, no paved roads, and no cell phones buzzing in your pocket. Just the rhythmic sounds of nature, the distant call of unknown creatures, the whisper of leaves stirred by the morning breeze, and the crunch of dry grass beneath bare feet. This was Earth 4 million years ago. The sun, still climbing slowly over the horizon, cast a warm golden hue across the vast African landscapes. Towering trees stretched toward the sky, their branches swaying gracefully. The rivers meandered. Lazily, their waters cool and clear, home to dangerous crocodiles and giant prehistoric fish. The skies above were dotted with enormous birds of prey, sharp-eyed and always on the hunt. Life, then, was brutal. It was raw. It was uncertain. But in the midst of this unpredictable, untamed world, something extraordinary was taking place. Small, upright walking creatures were learning how to survive. They weren't the fastest. They weren't the strongest. But they possessed something that would, in time, change the course of history forever: adaptability. These early hominins, known as Australopithecus afarensis, were our distant ancestors. Roughly the size of a modern chimpanzee, they stood a little over 3 feet tall and weighed around 60 to 70 pounds. Their brains were small, about the size of a modern grapefruit, but within them burned the faintest spark of curiosity. An awareness dot for them. Each day was a series of life or death decisions. They woke early, moving cautiously through their environment and small family groups. Silence was their greatest ally. The sharp scent of nearby predators was a constant reminder that danger could strike at any moment. Saber-toothed cats prowled the grasses. Packs of giant hyenas roamed nearby. Even the seemingly tranquil rivers could turn deadly in an instant. Their survival wasn't about dominance. It was about vigilance with no weapons to defend themselves. They relied on their ability to climb swiftly, to blend into the landscape, and most importantly, to work together. The bond within their groups was sacred. A lone individual had little chance against the forces of nature, but as a unit, they had help. Food was both a daily goal and a constant challenge. These early ancestors were opportunistic foragers. They scoured the ground for fallen fruits, plucked leaves, chewed on fibrous roots, and occasionally scavenged the leftovers from predator kills. The landscape didn't provide endless bounty sum. Seasons were harsh, the rain was unpredictable, and the herds of grazing animals migrated frequently. Their sharp eyes scanned for edible plants and signs of other animals. Their nimble hands began to experiment with their environment, picking up sticks to pull down fruit, using stones to crack nuts, possibly even using basic tools without fully realizing the power they held in their hands. Though they could not yet make fire, they would eventually learn to harness it. But even without that crucial skill, these ancestors demonstrated remarkable resourcefulness. They understood which plants soothed pain, which trees offered the best shelter, and which trails led them safely to water. Communication was limited to basic sounds, facial expressions, and gestures. But even those primitive exchanges became critical in navigating the dangers around them. A sharp warning cry could signal a predator's approach, and a soft hum could comfort a frightened child. These small sounds were the seeds of the complex languages humans would one day develop. But life was unforgiving. Natural disasters shaped their world in terrifying ways. Periodic droughts would dry up rivers, forcing them to travel long distances in search of food and water. When the rains came, they could bring violent floods, sweeping away the unwary. Lightning storms raged across the skies, fires occasionally scorching the earth, leaving it blackened and bare. Through it all, these ancestors adapted. One of their greatest advantages was their ability to walk on 2 feet. Bipedalism freed their hands for carrying food, gathering materials, and possibly even holding infants for longer periods, which allowed them to travel farther and survive in more diverse environments. Walking upright also helped them to see over tall grasses, spotting both danger and opportunity as they traveled. They left behind footprints, literal imprints of their journey, some of which have been miraculously preserved in ancient volcanic ash and discovered millions of years later by modern scientists. These footprints tell the story of family groups moving together, perhaps side by side, their small strides pressing into the soft earth, unaware that they were etching their story into history. Their lives were not heroic by modern standards. They didn't build great structures or wield mighty weapons, but their quiet resilience, their ability to endure, to learn, and to pass down survival knowledge across generations was the foundation of everything humanity would one day achieve. Imagine a mother teaching her offspring which berries were safe, guiding them to a reliable waterhole, leading them to climb the right tree at the right moment to escape a predator. These lessons weren't written in books. They were taught through example, repetition, and sometimes through painful trial and error. In the absence of comfort, they created connection. In the absence of certainty, they cultivated instinct. The world around them was evolving too. The African landscapes shifted from dense forests to more open grasslands, forcing these early ancestors to adapt yet again. As the forest thinned, they ventured farther, learning to survive in harsher, more exposed environments. They crossed rivers, explored valleys, and perhaps even encountered other hominin species along the way. Over countless generations, small changes began to emerge. Their brains slowly expanded. Their hands became more adept at gripping and manipulating objects. The seeds of problem-solving, social cooperation, and even basic planning were being sown deep within their DNA, though their lives were short by modern standards. Their impact would ripple forward through time. Their struggles paved the way for the next step in our evolutionary journey. The rise of Homo habilis would bring more advanced tool use. Homo erectus would eventually harness fire, venture out of Africa, and begin shaping the world in more profound ways. But it all began here, with small, curious creatures learning to survive day by day. They did not know the future they were creating. They did not know their distant descendants would one day look back, marveling at their footsteps, their silent victories, their fragile yet unbreakable grip on life. They simply lived, they survived, and because they did, we are here. The story of life 4 million years ago is not one of grand conquests or towering achievements. It is a story of quiet persistence, of ordinary creatures overcoming extraordinary odds, of each sunrise marking another chance to go on. Their legacy is in us. In the way we form communities. In the way we protect each other. In the way we seek knowledge, crave connection, and find the courage to explore the unknown. It all began with them. The early walkers, the silent survivors, the ancestors who dared to stand and move forward into a future they would never see. Thank you for watching. If you found this story captivating, please like, subscribe, and join us for more journeys into the distant past, where the smallest moments shape the greatest stories ever told.